The Jets just disappointed us again. They got our hopes up with the Houston win. They go to Arizona on a long week and get destroyed. Here's our recap.
Hey, New York Jet fans from all around the world. Welcome to Laugh Through the Turbulence, a New York Jets podcast. The show that delivers you all your Jets content. Here are your hosts, John, Adam, and Monty. All the best to the New York Jet fans. Jets, 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 go Jets.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about this team, man.
At least the intro looks good.
Yeah, at least we're doing our part.
I mean, look, we may suck, but we look better and better talking about it.
Yeah, we're
Well, you guys still don't have your swag, so what the hell?
Yeah, I keep forgetting to do
yeah,
that.
You keep forgetting to do that. You know, I'm going to be honest. I forgot to wear my swag during the game, and that's probably why we lost.
There we go.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
it.
Rough, man.
31-6. This is a Zach Wilson game. This is a classic Zach Wilson game, by the way. No touchdowns.
Not even because at least in his games they were competitive. You know, they aren't competitive anymore, which is the worst part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so just jumping into it, like I saw two, I guess, I guess you wouldn't call them bright spots. I guess you just call them not shit spots. We only had 3 penalties, but they still came in at terrible times. And we were able to stop their main running back on the ground from doing a lot of running. He did still have a 45-yard screen. I'm talking about James Conner. And Trey Benson still went 10 for 62 and a score. It's like, it's like the Jets, they fix what's wrong in the last game, but they do it at the expense of literally everything else. Like anything they fix at a given amount of time, it's just like, it's like, oh, we're getting penalties. We're giving up too much in penalties. Okay, no penalties. Yeah, but you got blown out. It's like, oh, let's stop the run. We got to stop the run. Okay, let's stop the run. Okay, then we give up 200 and whatever in the air. This is just abysmal, man. The Cardinals were converting 71% of their third downs. They converted third down 13 times on us. 400 yards of total offense against us. They had more passing yards than we had total yards. It's just a comedy of errors. And like I even called it when we were watching the game. I don't know if you guys remember. I was like, Kyler Murray is going to break a record today. And I said that after their second drive, which of course went for a touchdown. And he did. He broke a franchise record for the most consecutive completions in Arizona Cardinals history. And he did it versus what was supposed to be one of the best defenses in the league, coming off of being a top 5 defense by every and all measure. I think Garrett Wilson said it best. The energy is not there because we're playing like trash.
We're playing like dog shit.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
Well, dog shit goes in the trash, so I mean,
same thing. I mean,
if the guy's nice enough to bring a doggy bag to.
Well, look, no matter what, we're it's semantics at this point, right? It's all just not ideal. It's terrible football. It's not fun to watch. Even the young, exciting players, which I feel like right now it's only Garrett Wilson. He's barely getting the ball. It's the product that they're putting on the field right now is it's not an embarrassment to Jet fans. It's an embarrassment to football as a whole. And this team comes out. You had 10 days to prepare, like John said in the opening.
Forgot about that.
And you came out flat. You looked like you didn't have a plan.
Again.
You looked like You had no idea that Kyler Murray could run. Michael Clemens didn't set the edge in the preseason when
he doesn't know what an edge is.
ran an RPO and kept the ball and scored. Kyler Murray did it twice. It's an awful look, and I don't understand, why this program, this organization insists on playing Michael Clemens. I would rather play one of the undrafted rookies. The guy is a joke. He shouldn't be in the NFL. And he's a big, tough guy. Who cares, man? He doesn't seem like he understands anything about the game of football. And, it just, you get a guy like Devontae in here, worthless. Rodgers looks washed, tired, slow. There's 7 more games of this. There are still 7 more games of this. So we'll see what happens. But I just, that loss was everything that we said. We said Trey McBride is going to eat them up. He ate them up. We said, watch Kyler running because he might go nuts. Scores 2 touchdowns. Right? They couldn't stop the passing game. They couldn't stop the running game. They couldn't stop, they couldn't take away the middle of the field. Everything that could have went wrong. And, it's an embarrassment. So 7 more games of this. It's going to be interesting.
It's always embarrassing getting beat by Kyler Murray because he's like 5'7". He looks so small.
Yeah, but
I know he's a beast.
He's a beast.
He can play.
I will say this. It's just like
he's amazing.
I've never seen a defense in any franchise back-to-back seasons be like top cream of the crop, the dog shit, without like major roster changes, right? Like, this defense, it's fairly much the same as it was last year, right? You could argue Huff, JFM, and then you haven't really had Mosley, right? But you've been able to replace Mosley with Sherwood. The secondary is pretty much all the same outside of Whitehead, right, who wasn't good. You've had more Tony Adams featured, who was in this game, right? And, you've had no Chuck Clark, which hurts, right, a little bit. But it's just amazing. And obviously on the D-line, you got Reddick now, who, he's playing, Will McDonald's kind of replaced Huff. he was actually probably the best pass rusher we had the other day. He had the most pressures, right? But like still, it's just amazing that like the thing that was like supposed to be like true and constant, right? That defense, totally gone, And the offense, like I honestly like the first 2 drives, it looked like they were gonna be fine, right? They were moving the ball methodically, and then it just stopped.
Well, I knew they were going to settle for field goals. That's just what they do.
Yeah.
It's just fucking nuts, man.
Yeah. Once we didn't score to answer back, like it's weird, like, or it's crazy, or it's sad, or I don't know. Like I'm running out of fucking adjectives to describe how bad we get our ass kicked. But once I saw that we didn't answer back on that first touchdown and we settled for a field goal, I was like, I already was out on the game, and I just switched to laugh through turbulence mode, and I was just laughing at everything. Like it was comedy. I said it was a comedy of errors. It was comedy. Like just every play, 3rd down, no problem. They're gonna convert it. Like a stop. What's that? Force a turnover. What's that? Like nothing we could do. Just nothing.
It's really bad.
And I think that
it's really bad. Like honestly, like the season tickets that I have, we were talking about it in the pregame right before this. Like you guys might be right. It might be that time. Like, are you like, let's say season ends like the disaster it is, right? Mm-hmm. I get the schedule comes out for next year. You guys coming to those games?
I'm probably gonna. I just have always, for me, my like baseline Jets participation, having lived in Florida for many years, was home opener, come up for that or whatever, and then the Dolphins Jets game. I would just go see that at Dolphin Stadium. And that's pretty much what it is. And I think that's what I'm going to go back to. I can't see myself spending any more money. And honestly, I don't even know, depending on how good the Dolphins are, I don't even know if I want to put myself through that. I might go to the opener just because there's always a chance at the beginning of a new season that some shit, we got struck by lightning and somehow we're a relevant team. We're a relevant team instead of an irrelevant team. Yeah, man, I'm at the point so first of all, I've completely cut off my jet spending. I refuse to spend a single dime on anything. If I even do go to a game, I'm not going to buy a beer. I'm just going to drink in the parking lot or drink before I get there. I'm not buying a single freaking chicken tender. I don't give a shit how good they taste. I am not spending a dime. No merch, no hats, no fucking jerseys. I don't even wear my jersey anymore. And I'm not even I'm at the point where I don't want to even put anything that could possibly go towards the Jets' bottom line because I'm so full on boycott mode of this franchise. Like, this shirt is great, but I got this shit in the parking lot from some hustler for like $10. Yeah, we bought them together. We bought them. Yeah, actually, it's a great shirt. I got compliments on it. It's a great shirt, but I'll wear it. It didn't, this hat I'm wearing, I had custom made. So it didn't go to the Jets' bottom line either. I just am so out on this organization, so disappointed, so disgusted with this piece of shit, badly run organization that I'm just after a game like that and after a season like how this season's been, how can you blame me? And how can you blame anyone who wants to completely divest from the Jets? And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think for me, season opener, I'm always going to go to. John, I think I've come to every single season opener since you've gotten your tickets. So I'm in for season openers, but I mean, I feel like outside of that, season opener, and if they have a home playoff game, that's kind of how I'm looking at it now until they look like a team that's going to have sustained success. It's a lot of money to spend. It's a lot of money to spend, a lot of time.
And they keep raising the fucking prices. The balls on these fucking people.
Yeah.
The absolute unmitigated gall of these fucking people to even try to, I get inflation, you got to do a little bit, but other than enough to cover the inflation between year over year, they should not even bring up the idea of raising price. Who the fuck are they to raise prices at a time like this? Get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah, but you got to understand, Monty, people are paying, right? Yeah. That's why. It's because people like John will renew their season tickets no matter what.
Fucking idiot.
Why do they?
Such an idiot.
We gotta just not do it.
We said it last year. The Jets were horrific. And we're second in the NFL in attendance, right? Woody knows it doesn't matter the product he puts on the field because everybody's going to go. So until that stops, he has zero incentive to do anything differently. So, that's kind of the state that we're in.
But anyway, I guess to kind of lighten up the mood a little bit, the creative department here came up with a little bit of a video to kind of help you guys get through it. So we're just going to roll the clip.
Enjoy.
Are you fed up with all the news about how terrible the New York Jets are? Have you finally accepted that any prayers, wishes, or hopes you've had for them are destined to fail? Have you accepted that they will never win another Super Bowl? Find yourself alone, just hating life and yourself after every game? At Laugh Through the Turbulence, we can't solve any of that, but we can make you laugh about it. So before you decide to take drastic measures, please like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. That was great.
Yeah. The original one I had a joke in there that was maybe a little bit
anti-algorithm.
Anti-algorithm, yes, correct. Man, all right, so let's talk about a couple of the topics we had. So, we could talk about the tackling. Right, that's kind of the one thing which was emphasized all week, right? Albert's we're gonna watch tackling tape. We're gonna tackle. And lo and behold, They had 20 missed tackles in the game, which was tied for the most in a single game for the year amongst all teams.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Ulbricht's quote was, "The Jets missed an egregious criminal amount of tackles." Less than a week after they had a tackling presentation. So clearly that didn't fucking take at all. Not even a little bit. The Jets also, by the way, have multiple starters who are above the average missed tackle rate.
Read the stat. You got it?
No, I don't got it. You got it there?
Excellent work.
Yep.
Okay, but all right, I got it kind of in the focus. So basically, the average missed tackle rate is what, 12%? And I'm doing this off the top of my head.
16.
No, it's 12% is the average, but over 16% was the following guys. That's what the stat was that you showed. Okay. Mm-hmm. Over 16%, it's basically your key guys. It's McDonald, it's Quinnen, it's Kinlaw, it's Reed, Sauce, Mills, and Tony Adams. So basically everything but the linebackers. And pretty much. Yeah, so you get through the run, the D line, you're gonna do really poorly against the run, no matter what, right? Because it's gonna get to the second level, linebackers clean it up,
easily,
right?
Yeah.
If you pass the ball, they will get some yak. It's comical. I mean,
I think it's one of those things where. So I was watching an interview with Julian Edelman, and one of the things that he said about the Patriots, and so I want to make sure that, right, this is bad. This is really bad, but tackling across the NFL has been bad. And one of the main reasons Julian Edelman was saying that, when the Patriots, from training camp through the Super Bowl practice week, right, they worked on tackling. They ran tackling drills. They emphasized tackling. Most NFL teams don't do that, right? And this week, when you say, we're going to watch a presentation about tackling, and tackling isn't a switch you can just turn on and off. If you're not practicing it, if you're not emphasizing it, it doesn't matter, right? And they aren't doing these little things to be prepared. They aren't emphasizing the important things, right? And so this is what happens. You have an interim coach now, and, you have a bunch of guys that seem like they don't care. They're not putting the effort in. This will probably just get worse every week, So it's a real big problem. And one of the biggest reasons is, one, they don't emphasize it or practice it enough, if at all. And number two, there's no accountability, right? These guys are going to continue to play. They're going to continue to be starters. No one's going to say anything to them. And it doesn't matter. This team has a black hole when it comes to leadership. Whether it's from the coaching staff, from the players. You hear a lot of ex-players will say the best teams are, player ran. Yeah, the head coach has a lot to do with it, but the best coaches or the best teams are policed by the players. Jets don't have any players to police this. So, it's just going to get worse and worse for the rest of this season.
Yeah, that was a good point you made about tackling in the NFL, because I even remember back when I was playing in high school, my coach, they emphasize tackling, but I remember one of the kids was like, that's how like they do it in the NFL or something like that about tackle. And my coach ripped them for that. He was like, they don't teach tackling in the NFL. They tackle however they want. They feel like it. Also, they're moving at a really, high rate of speed and whatever. So they just kind of do whatever the bet they can do to take someone down. If you want to see good tackling form, don't look to the NFL for that. That's not where you're going to learn how to tackle. There's few and far between really good textbook tacklers just in the NFL. And of course, as with anything, when it comes to leading the league and being the worst at it, the Jets have to take it to the next level. And that's what we're doing this year.
Apparently. Well, God, Quincy had a fucking sack on Kyler, and that was like the only good form of tackling I think we saw.
And then they converted that third down right after that.
But and the thing about that tackle, right, is it was textbook in the sense that he smashed the quarterback, didn't lead with the helmet, wasn't forcible contact, didn't put his body weight on him, led with the shoulder, it was everything you wanted in a tackle. And then what happens? The next play, like you said, they converted.
Yeah. I noticed, speaking of tackling, like, I think that this has been part of, and, I will talk about Sauce a little bit more in a little bit, but I think this has been part of, like, Sauce's problem is that I noticed teams are running tight ends at him. And
They're bigger.
Shouldn't be covering tight ends, but because we run this fucking zone and we never put Sauce in shadow coverage, his assignment is whoever's there. And so the teams have figured out, we just need to send a big fucking machine over at Sauce and he will get some yak because Sauce can't wrap up a big guy like that. He can't even, he can't even handle, guys that he should handle at this point.
You know what sucks too about that Sauce missed tackle, and we're gonna get into the comments right after I talk about it. Like, he had really good coverage against McBride on that one, and like the tackle, like he almost McBride made a hell of a move on that one. He really did. If you really relook at it again, like Sauce pretty much had him, and actually displayed pretty good technique, but McBride just.
He was too high. He was too high for someone that big.
He was, but also, mind you, that's the way they were cutting across, and Sauce almost made a play at the ball to stop that.
Right, yeah.
Very hard. Yeah, it's very hard to transition on that when you're going that fast. So I kind of understand on that.
He didn't commit to one or the other. He should have committed to the tackle or committed to the strip. If and he didn't. He kind of tried to do a little bit of both, and he's a skinny, lanky guy who isn't amazing at tackling. So
he should have just went for the tackle, because in all likelihood, like if he just goes for the tackle and secures it, they're out, right? But anyway, do we want to go into the Sauce on Twitter rampage?
Yeah, I got a bunch to say about Sauce. It's just like,
so basically, Sauce just like replied to Samini, right? I'm going to share screen in a second. But basically, Samini was like giving his little fucking grades that he always does, right? And basically, and please ignore all the stuff on the left over here. But basically, he's basically doing a stock report that he always does. Says the entire defense, 20 missed tackles, Sauce Gardner, the costliest miss, Rodgers, low, and the pressure. And I will say this, freaking A, and I was talking about this, the line actually did a really good job. And they gave up a good game from the offensive line. But mind you, the Cardinals are really bad on pass rush. But basically, Sauce replied, and he eventually, he basically gave the sarcastic response. Yep, 100% sure me missing the tackle at the beginning of the second quarter for a gain of 17 yards was the costliest miss and is, in fact, what lost us the game. At this point, like, no one should say anything. I mean, he is right, but, we're playing like dog shit. No one should snap back, right?
Yeah. Jets. Well, first of all, the Jets are like chronically online, I guess. Like, dude, go learn football. Stop being on fucking Twitter. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, get your ass off Twitter. But it's clear that he's crashing out because the pressure and the frustration and everything is clearly getting to him, as is getting to many of the other players. And in addition to replying to Samini's tweet, which wasn't even directly about him, he's also was arguing with people in their DMs. Like, he was like going at people who were like shading him on Twitter, and he's like arguing with them, and it's fucking crazy. And I want to get you guys' opinion in a second, because the Jets fan base has absolutely completely turned on Sauce Gardner. And I think it's fucking stupid. I'm hearing, oh, yeah, well, he was only good the first year and two years. He only made first team All-Pro because he was holding on every play, and now he's just getting called for it. And he could never tackle. And, like, sure, he wasn't, Lawrence fucking Taylor, Troy Polamalu tackler, but, his missed tackle rate was 11.6 for his first 2 years straight, which is below NFL average, as we just talked about. He's also having a bad year on a bad team where everyone is performing bad. So, like, there's that to contend with. Like, it's not like it's just him playing bad in a vacuum. The whole team is just depressed and demoralized, and it's obvious. And like, for them to just rip on Sauce, I'm hearing, oh, trade Sauce for a pack of cigarettes and, do this. And I'm like, who the fuck are you going to replace Sauce Gardner with? 2-time All-Pro back-to-back seasons? Like, are we supposed to believe that he randomly forgot football, or he just sucks forever now, or he was never good? And meanwhile, all these people were sucking his dick last year and the year before, 2 years straight. He was the best thing ever. And then now, just because he's having a slump, because the whole team's having a slump, like, we're supposed to just get rid of him at his lowest point of value? Like, no, like, you don't extend him. I get it at this point. Or if he's willing to take a super low ball, bargain bin contract, maybe you consider extending him, but you don't extend him and you just let him play out his next year and see if this is for real or not. But like, everyone wanting to move on from Sauce, trade Sauce, I am just so fucking disgusted with the fan base about that and how dumb the takes can be. But I want to get your guys' like opinion on that. Do you think Sauce just sucks forever now? Do we move on from Sauce? Like, what do we do with Sauce Gardner?
So
Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
You don't move. I mean, this has just been a disaster every year. I think just mentally, everything just fucking falling apart. Right. As I was talking about this the other week, that like, basically, if you're mentally not there, you can't do some of the simplest things. This whole team is in that boat right now. Right. So it's like, I think, I mean, like, if he were to go somewhere else, god damn, he's going to be fucking all pro again.
Exactly.
This will, I can't say this will get fixed. I can't. There's just no proof of it,
Fair.
But like, no, I don't think you just like, that's a cornerstone piece regardless, right? You just don't get rid of that.
Yeah, cornerback is one of the highest bust rate.
It's a premium position.
It's also one of the highest bust rate positions. So like, when you nail a good corner, you got to hold on to that, because the chances of you, like, who are you going to, that's my question always, and no one ever has an answer because these people are fucking stupid. Who are you going to realistically replace Sauce Gardner with? Let's say by some miracle you get 2 first rounders for Sauce, right? You have to use one of them to replace Sauce, or you have to pay some fucking free agent an assload of money. One of the two. And neither of those is a good thing, because you get a first rounder, you might end up with D fucking Milner again. You might end up with, some first round bust, because cornerbacks bust a lot. And like, I just don't get it. Like, yeah, he's sucking right now. Yeah, he's not being a leader. He's not being himself, but he's young.
I think there are a few things here when it comes to Sauce, right? I would say first and foremost, if you look at his career to this point, this is the first time he's ever faced real adversity. He was a god at Cincinnati. He was a god his first 2 years in the NFL, and now he's facing adversity. And it seems like he's not sure how to handle that. And this is what happens when you have a team that's devoid of leadership. Right? This is where a guy like Rodgers has to say, hey man, let's take it easy a little bit on the social media, but he can't because he's fucking around on Pat McAfee every Tuesday. So who is the person that can grab Sauce and say, hey man, listen, let's take a step back. I get it. Not only is it social media, but you're in New York. Like, let's just relax a little bit. There's nobody that can do that for him. Right? So he's kind of in the wilderness right now. I also believe that there are 2 reasons, I think, why Sauce is playing the way he's playing this season. One is kind of what you had said, Monty, and John, you had alluded to this as well. It's the tackling, right? So people are either running at him, flooding his zone with bigger players, forcing him to tackle. And that wears him down in the passing game, right? He's a tall corner, but he's lanky. So he's not a big dude that can kind of take on a lot of punishment. But I think the most concerning part, and Monty, you and I have talked about this ad nauseum. He doesn't force turnovers. So when you throw the ball at Sauce, right, it's turnovers are off the table. So there are one of three outcomes for the offense. Incomplete pass, okay. Complete pass, great. Or he gets called for a penalty. Those are the only three outcomes when you throw at Sauce, right? So there's a 66% chance that when you throw at him, something good is going to happen for the offense. The difference between Sauce and Dion and Revis, we know this about Dion. If you guys remember about Revis, he was an excellent punt returner coming out of Pittsburgh. He even returned punts for the Jets until he turned to one of the top two corners in the history of football. And my point is that not only did those guys turn you over, they were a threat to go to the house every time they touched the ball because of their skills with the ball in their hands, right? Sauce doesn't present that danger. So you're not scared of him. So until he starts forcing turnovers, he's not just being thrown at, he's being targeted. Because teams are like, what's the worst that can happen? An incompletion? So that's a big thing he has to go back to the drawing board on and really work. And like John said, I don't know if that's fixable. If he can't fix that, I think his effectiveness really does diminish. Now, in terms of moving on from him, he's not the best corner in football. He's a top 7 or 8 corner, and you don't find those guys easily. So you don't move on from him because he's having a tough season as a young player. But I'm going to ask you guys a question. Looking throughout the entire NFL, I know we don't follow teams as closely as we follow the Jets, but man, is there any player who has lost more money than Sauce over this entire season? I mean, he should be. Did you see the contract that the Niners defensive back just signed today? He signed a 4-year, $92 million extension.
Sauce should be getting $25 million a year, but he won't even get. He's not worth that now.
I don't know about that.
That's what he was looking at.
That's what he was worth.
Money.
That's what he was.
Money. But even if he's worth what this guy got, he's losing money by the day and acting like this on social media. That kills his value as a leader, right? So he's really got to take a look in the mirror, and just kind of, man up, to be honest.
Well, all right. I mean, I'm willing to take this bet right now. Regardless of the outcome of the season, bearing any serious injury, Sauce will be made the highest paid corner. Year 4 with the year 5, extension for his rookie deal. He'll be made the highest paid corner in the offseason.
My pushback on that would be, we don't know who the new GM is, right? The new GM has zero loyalty to Sauce. And if he looks at it and says, this guy just isn't who I thought he was. If Joe Douglas was going to be the GM, I agree with you 100% because he's going to want to justify that pick.
Right. Who wants to make the bet? Who wants to make the bet?
That's his number one. That's his number one pick. Well, see, the only thing that kind of makes that bet kind of like a little bit of a sucker bet is that we're getting a whole new coach. We're getting a new, usually get a little bit of a bump from that. And he has 2 all-pro seasons, first team under his belt already.
Yep.
This could, all players have a down season. It's very likely he returns to Sauce form. I think a better bet would be, does he improve in other areas like tackling and interceptions? And I would take a bet that he doesn't improve in the interception department.
Well, let's do the math real quick, okay? The highest average salary right now is Ramsey, right? 24.1, right? And then it's Patrick Surtain at 24, Jair Alexander 21, AJ Terrell 20, and Denzel Ward, right?
And he's worse than all those guys
this season. If you aggregate out all the last 3 seasons, he's better than all of them.
Yeah, but if you look at how much of a threat he is on a game-to-game basis,
Yeah,
which is
also
a little bit of an
so
intent.
fucking young, dudes. He's so young. You know what I mean? Like how old is he? He's
24.
21.
No, he's not. No,
20,
he's not.
no, wait. I'm sorry. He's 20. Yeah, he's 23. 23.
He's turning 24. Yeah.
24. Yeah. So, I mean, there's just no way. So, like, you telling me 25-year-old top-notch corner in the league ain't going to be made highest paid when, like, all the time guys that come into the league that are like getting to that point don't get overpaid?
But John, you also have to look at, again, is he going to be forcing turnovers? Is he going to become a better tackler? Are there things that he's going to get better at in those 3 years, right? Did we, hopefully not, but did we see the best Sauce we're going to see over his first 2 seasons?
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that, but yeah, I don't know if I believe that, but I think that also the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league, and Sauce hasn't really been doing shit for us lately. So in this offseason, for him to be made the highest paid, I think that's not realistic. I don't think that happens. I think they let him play his 4th year out and then just pay the piper at the end of the 4th year.
He's getting
which
the
is
yeah. There's no question.
Which is why he would end up being, because if he has 5 years, if this is just 1 year of a down year, and then he ends up being Sauce again for the next 2 years after that, then yeah, of course, then you have 5 years of data on the guy, and he's 4 out of the 5, he's a top corner. Then yes, he will get paid as a top corner.
Just remember that because of the way the rookie contracts work, if at your position you've got an all-pro, he's got 2, by the way, or like you get defensive player of the year, MVP, whatever, right? 1 of those years, right? Basically, you qualify for the maximum value of the 5th-year deal at that position, which I believe is like almost like the tag number. It's like top 5, essentially. So he's already going to make, in his 5th year, he's going to have an average that's going to be in that top-notch range, right? So like if you looked at it, just for example, like Lamar Jackson, I think in his 5th year, he had $29 million as his hit, right, or something. It's going to be a very high number. Let's just say that,
like 20 or something.
Yeah, it's going to be like 20. It's going to be close to 20. It'd probably be like 18 or something like that. I forgot what the number is, and I did my research on this way back, but I don't know. Like I very well could see him just getting a fucking huge deal. Like I like and getting the biggest deal. Like
I don't disagree.
4 years, $100 million.
I don't disagree. That's what I was saying. 25 million a year is what he was looking at. I just don't think it'll happen this offseason in any way. I don't think there's a chance of that.
There's still time for him to showcase why he's one of the most talented guys in the league. But anyway, can we switch topics?
Let's do it.
So, of course, such a Jets thing to happen, essentially. As every Jets thing is to happen. What happens when Mike Williams gets traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers? Mike Williams does the red line and scores a fucking game-winning touchdown, essentially. And just to kind of just show off what that image looks like, because it's so fucking depressing. Just everything about this franchise is depressing. There's Mike Williams, he was just thankful.
Can you zoom that a little bit?
Yeah, I guess I could. Yeah,
and then just scroll. Yeah, and then just scroll down to the words. That's the real
the red line. That's the whole thing. The red line, which was a dig definitely at our man. It was not really a man right now.
So fucking embarrassing, dude. Like, it's just another example of Aaron Rodgers not being a leader, not taking a responsibility for his own fucking failing, and it blowing up in his face in spectacular fashion. Like, how great is it for Mike Williams? His first week, he scores a touchdown. He wasn't able to do that with us all year. You want to know why? Not because he didn't know how to run a route, because of Rodgers. Rodgers, I've been saying all season, has been afraid to throw picks. He pads his fucking numbers. He doesn't want to throw an interception. And in lieu of that, our receivers suffer. This is why Garrett was suffering so much at the beginning of the season. And, he's still kind of suffering, but that's why he was suffering so much at the beginning of the season, because Rodgers just refuses to throw a jump ball. He doesn't want to throw contested catch. And that's Mike Williams' specialty. You throw it up. He's 6'4". He's a big, tall dude with hops. Like, Throw him the fucking ball. Let him jump up and work for it and catch it. He will do that. Don't, oh, well, you know, I didn't run the red line. You know, it's a red line. Blah, blah. You didn't, you know. Shut up. Throw the fucking ball, bro. Like, oh, my God.
You know what I think? I think the other piece of it, right? And so one of my friends had said this. He's a Chicago Bears fan. And one of the things that he had said about the Bears coaches last year, some of the guys that were there, especially the offensive coaches, he was like, it's not good enough for the Bears to win. They have to win the coach's way, right? That's Aaron Rodgers. It's not good enough to complete the pass. It has to be Aaron Rodgers' way, right? So, like you said, Mike Williams is a guy that you say, get to the end zone, I'm going to put the ball up, you go get it. But yes, I do agree there is some truth to Aaron Rodgers not wanting to throw interceptions, but I also believe it's Aaron saying, no, you're supposed to run the route at 12.65 yards. If you run it at 12.64 yards or 12.66 yards, I'm not throwing you the ball. Right? Like he has it in his mind that I'm the only one who knows how to do it right. And if you don't do it right, I'm not coming to you. Right? And the interception in London, right? That was when he made the red line comment. Throw the ball up into the end zone and let him go get it. He short-armed that ball. Right? But he's blaming Mike Williams. It's a bad look. And I saw another report where, like, when Mike Williams got to the Pittsburgh facility, he had the biggest smile on his face. He was ecstatic because playing with Rodgers, and Boomer Esiason said it, I believe, this morning on WFAN. He was like, playing with Rodgers in that locker room, he just sucks the oxygen out of the locker room. Right? And you're walking on eggshells. You're worried about every little thing. Now he goes there. Russell Wilson, Mr. Positivity, was like, I'm going to get this guy the football. And not only did he score a touchdown, it was the game winner. It wasn't a touchdown where they were down 24-3 and he scored to make it 24-10. He won the game for them. And the Jets couldn't figure out how to get him the ball in the end zone. It's embarrassing, man.
No, they could figure it out. It just wasn't going to happen because Aaron Rodgers was there. That's why. That's what it was. Any idiot could figure out you throw the fucking ball to a tall guy in the end zone, you probably have a good chance of coming down with it.
I mean, the other piece of it, a lot of his routes, he's running 12-yard ins and 15-yard. Throw him the ball down the field. He's your field stretcher. You know, so it was disappointing.
All right. Well, I guess from there we could transition to this fucking topic.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a failure. I mean, I can't believe we're halfway through this season. We didn't really see anything great except for the first week 2, week 3, right? And then the Houston game.
I mean, week 3. What was week 3?
That was the Patriots game.
Patriots game.
No, week 3 was Patriots. All right, yeah. No,
yeah.
I thought it was
We were so happy.
Patriots.
We were so happy.
Yeah.
The next episode, we were like, "This is sustainable," you know, blah blah blah.
Well, I think like the biggest thing to me.
Noises.
I got it. Go ahead.
I don't know, man. I think I look at this Rodgers thing and it's so frustrating, right? Because you knew this is what could happen, right? And it was just like one of those things where you were bringing in a guy who's he's a used car salesman, right? You brought in a guy who talked a good game, but never really cared about the team, never really cared about being a New York Jet.
I don't know if I agree with it, man.
No, I don't think he did, because he's showing it now, right? He's not being a leader, throwing Mike Williams under the bus.
I think he was always
give a
that.
Shit about that locker room.
He was
right?
always that.
Well, that's my point. You brought in a guy who isn't a leader, and then
fair.
And then you anointed him the savior, not just the leader, the savior. You said, here's the guy. We went 7-10 with Zach Wilson. That's not good enough. Here's the guy who's going to fix it all, right? And I think some of it isn't on him, right? Like, look at every third down, whether it's 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 11, they're in empty, right? Because it's Aaron, bail us out. Please fix it. That's a microcosm of what this franchise is. They gave the franchise to Aaron. They gave it to his friends. They gave it to Hackett. And now this is what we're seeing, right? And the Jets made all of these decisions out of desperation, right? Again, I said it earlier, right? Like, look at the trade. They were negotiating against themselves and overpaid. A pick swap and 2 second-rounders. They should have gotten him for a second-rounder, right? 2 pick swaps and a second-rounder and 2 second-rounders. That was an overpay. They signed Hackett before they even knew they had him. What happened if he didn't come? Now you have Matt Hackett as your offensive coordinator without Rodgers, which was a disaster anyway, right? Desperate decision-making, incompetent decision-making. Then you let him bring in Lazard and Boyle and, Turner and these guys. Randall Cobb. They all did nothing last year. And you just gave this guy the entire franchise, and this is what happens. And you know what? Good. You get what you deserve.
Yeah.
And they deserve this.
Let's look at the numbers real quick. So Rodgers on the year, 62.4% completion, which is good for 29th in the league, which is worse than Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, Aiden O'Connell. 2,258 yards, which is good for 10th in the league. 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 52 QBR, which is 24th in the league. 86 passer rating, which is 23rd in the league. His overall PFF grade is 78.6. I don't know where that ranks, but that's what it is. I know that's not amazing. The only bright spot really that I was able to kind of pull up, was kind of looking deeper in the analytics. Obviously, he doesn't throw turnovers, so he doesn't throw turnovers a lot. He does compared to the amount of touchdowns he's thrown, but his turnover-worthy play rate is only 1.5%, and his big-time throw rate per PFF is over 5%. And then when you look at that in like the quadrants, like he's in the bottom right, which is like so top left, which is where you don't want to be, is like guys like Will Levis, and then the bottom right is guys like Lamar and Rodgers and Herbert and actual decent quarterback. So that's kind of the only bright spot, but just like he just hasn't been himself. He's just so slow, just looks so sluggish out there. Zero mobility. His completion percentage over expected has been in the negative the whole season. And in the Cardinals game, he threw 1 pass over 7 yards. 1 pass the whole game. 1 pass over 7 yards. Let me repeat that for you. Like it's now, and he's never, for whatever reason, he's never on the same page with his receivers. Like not even Devontae Adams. It's just like, I think he's cooked, man. Like, so let me ask you guys, do you think like the slow mobility is he's just washed completely, or how much of that is he's old and coming off of a devastating football injury that used to be a freaking career ender, 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago? Is it that, or is it that he's just really, really washed? Like how much of it do you think would you assign there?
So the first thing I want to say is that Kirk Cousins suffered the same injury later in the season. I know he's a little bit younger, but suffered the same injury later in the season and is getting better every week, right? And so I think the problem is that Aaron is
lost the Panthers.
What?
The Falcons, right?
They lost.
Yeah.
Games, but bad game. But
just getting better. Okay.
Coach firing bump though. That we don't get ever, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
It just, Rodgers, if you want to look at Rodgers and say, bring him back next year, he'll be another year removed from the Achilles. He'll be, a better quarterback next year after having this, time to heal. I don't know, man. I mean, it doesn't look like he's getting any better after the surgery. I know he's a little bit banged up. The offensive line hasn't been protecting him well, so maybe there are some other lingering injuries. But I think one of the biggest pieces of Aaron Rodgers was his ability to be deadly on the move. And if you take that away from him, I don't know what you really have. So, I think this has been a disaster. And I think that it's a little bit of everything. It's his age. I don't think he doesn't want to get hit anymore. It looks like he wants to catch the ball and get it out immediately. So there are just a lot of things that I think are going wrong this season. But I also think part of it is he's 40. He's going to be 41 soon, like before the season ends. So,
Right. Like how much would you say? Like give it a percentage.
I would say 65% is he's old. 20% is he's coming off of an injury. And I'd say, the other 15% is all the circumstances around him. But I think the majority is it that he's old. And like we said, Monty, you said it. Steve Young and Drew Brees, these guys said, yeah, I can come off of my couch and win you a game. Can I do it over an entire season? Absolutely not. So Rodgers can give you a half, like the second half, against the Texans. He can give you a game like the game against the Patriots. But can he sustain that for 17 games anymore? And that's the question we have to ask. And I don't know if he can at this age. It doesn't look like he can. I hope I'm dead wrong. And these next 7 games, he plays like an absolute Hall of Famer. But, I got to see it to believe it.
Yeah, it's like Devon Godchaux said from the Patriots. He said, I hate to see him go out that way, but you'll always take a win against him because it looks good on your resume. But he definitely doesn't look the same. You just don't know if he can move back there. I can run him down and catch him. He doesn't look mobile at all. John, what do you think?
I just fucking hate the Jets, man. I just fucking I as we talk about this all, man, I'm just like, I don't want to go anymore, man. Damn. It's, it's so fucking sad. It's like almost going to make me fucking cry. I have so much fucking Jets shit, right? I have more than the two of you combined. I know that.
I know.
I also have season fucking tickets, We have a fucking podcast, And this has been just awful. Even doing this show, like, I'm losing interest in it. We're still going to do it because people are commenting and subscribing.
Hopefully.
But like, my God, this is just one of the, even I was on 2 other shows this week, right? Just talking about it. I was on Asman show and I was on AFC Roundtable wearing the swag. And they said our swag was cool. But like, my God, even I could just see it in their faces. There's just no fucking hope. God hates the fucking Jets. I will say that right now. There is a curse.
There is
a fucking curse.
There is not a curse. So listen, there's not a curse, right?
And here's
what I'm going to say, right? Just to kind of sum all this up. I heard this quote a long time ago. You guys have probably heard this quote. I forget who said it, but this is exactly what it is, right? So the quote is, advice is something we seek when we already know the truth, but wish that we didn't. Replace advice with curse. Curse is something we seek when we already know the truth, but wish we didn't. We wish it wasn't that the Jets are the most incompetent franchise in football possibly sports. We're looking for an explanation to say that it isn't just the organization. There's some unknown, uncontrollable force that is weighing the Jets down that nobody else experiences. And that's bullshit. Because everything that's happened to the Jets has happened to other teams. Other teams have injuries. Other teams have bad luck. Other teams have things go wrong, and they win. The Browns went to the playoffs last year playing 4 quarterbacks, right? Look at this year. Every single year, teams face adversity, and they get over it. It's not a curse. It's not a hex. It's not, what did you say, Monty? A statistical aberration?
I think it is.
None of that.
It's definitely at the very least that.
It is definitely that. It is definitely that because, dude, if you even if you're a
playoff droughts,
even
like,
if you're
it's so
if you're
weird.
it's like, bro, you know what it's like? It's like fantasy football where you have your draft, right? If you just auto draft, you'll usually have at least a decent team. It's like that. If you're a complete idiot, nobody know nothing, and you just draft based on consensus draft boarding, you will hit on a quarterback eventually. We haven't.
Yeah,
The fact that we haven't is a huge statistical aberration, i.e. curse.
Just know the way the salary cap and the draft board is structured, everything's supposed to come to the middle at some fucking point.
Right.
This
That's
franchise
not necessarily true because look at how many teams have been bad for longer than the Jets. Right?
That was
look at
none.
a lot of that was a lot of that was before, things were kind of adjusted.
We're
Yeah,
not
salary
talking-
cap started in 1984, and then the rookie wage scale started in 2009, 10. It was the year after Bradford, basically.
Mhm.
Right.
Like that was basically meant to middle out everybody, and the only team that hasn't made the playoffs basically since that all has happened, New York
It's the
Jets.
Right, because of incompetence.
It's not
because
just incompetence. I'm not listen. I think because we have this argument a lot for the viewers at home, like the whether it's a curse, whether it's not. And I think what you're thinking is that when we say it's a curse, that we're trying to absolve the rest of the team and Woody and the front office from culpability. It's not that at all. That is absolutely paramount. But what I'm saying is that is just compounding the fact that I think that even if you had competent leadership, I think the Jets might still be fucked just because of the fact that so much bad shit happens to us. Look, we are the most injured team over the past decade. That's not really debatable. It's us and like the Patriots, but a lot of the Patriots was just them like overlisting people on their injury report. The Jets had like for years and years our highest salary cap tied up in injuries. Like there's a lot that happens to the New York Jets that just doesn't happen to other teams. And I'm not talking about shit that you can predict. The shit that you can predict, yes, we have been awful at that too. Very awful. Like Woody has been a terrible leader. He hasn't been able to put together a winning coach GM combo in ever. Our coaching has been bad. Everything has been bad in terms of what we can control. But what I'm saying is the things we can't control also break in a ridiculously bad way for us. That's what the curse is. It's not that the curse is of taking away everything else. It's the curse is the other bad shit that also happens, and that's what I think it is.
I see a lot of bad stuff happening to other teams also, man. There are teams that have never won a Super Bowl. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since the 90s.
They're bad
right?
too.
They're
bad and cursed too.
though.
Yeah, they're kind of cursed
But
too.
is that incompetence or is that some kind of curse on the Dolphins
Both.
that they'll never win a playoff game again because they went 16-0 and their 16-0 team will never let anyone live that down?
It's both.
Right? Like it's nothing to do with anything out of the ordinary. It's incompetence. It's not bringing in the right people. It's not drafting correctly. It's misevaluating. It's all of that stuff. And that's what it is. and nothing will convince me otherwise.
But that's what I'm saying. Even with misevaluating, bro, even a broken clock is right twice a day. We never are. Like even if you just, like I was saying before, even if you just go drafting based on what the consensus is from like sports media and stuff you see out there, you will hit on a quarterback at a higher rate than the Jets have hit at in the last, 20 years or so.
I mean,
since
how
Pennington.
is this situation worse with Rodgers than it was with Favre?
It doesn't make any sense. Like that was definitely
because
not.
You can point to how.
It's 2 seasons wasted. It's 2 seasons wasted now. At least with Favre, you had a shot until he got banged up to the end of the year, and he was looking pretty damn good.
Yeah. So
Rodgers was closer to an MVP level coming to us because he was 2 years removed from it than Favre, where his last MVP year was in 97.
Yeah.
So and he came to us 08.
Yeah. So
what the fuck?
So I wanted to ask you guys on that note.
Oh, we should wrap up soon, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What do we do with Rodgers with this in mind? Because if we release him or he retires, it's the same cap wise, and that's a $49 million hit against us next year. I think you can split that up a little bit if you do like a post June 1st cut, I believe. But then if he plays in 2025, that cap hit is crazy. The dead cap for him ends up to be $63 million.
It spaces out. It's already spaced out.
But still, it's still total is 63.
It is spaced out though. That's the thing.
How much is that spaced out?
It's a lot. I think it's like 3 or 4 years. I can look again. I'll look again real quick.
Yeah, well, I'd rather pay the $50 million now.
That's what I was going to say. To me,
well, here's the question for you. Let's say they draft a quarterback next year, or if Jordan Travis looks like he's the fucking real deal, right? And you have Rodgers again on, let's say, a farewell tour, right? Which would suck, but you would have it, right? And you've seen Jordan Love ascend from Rodgers already, so at least that works out very well. And Jordan Love, right? So Jordan Travis, or like another rookie, right? Maybe that's the move.
Yeah, but
it's too much money.
It's too much money, and I also think
Tyrod
Taylor can do that also.
Right.
Tyrod can be the veteran. They have him under contract. Start Tyrod, draft Cam Ward, sit him for a year, sit him for half the year, do what the Patriots did with Drake May. You still have Brees and Garrett and young guys that can support him. You'll have 4/5 of your offensive line back. Rip the Rodgers Band-Aid off. Get out of that money in 1 year or make it a post-June 1st cut. Split it up, whatever you have to do. Get out from under that, and let's just start over.
I think with all the...
So here's the cap breakdown, right? If Rodgers plays next year, 2026, dead cap 21, 27, 21, 14. I'm sorry, it's 14, 14, 14, and 7. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I think that it's pretty much.
Wait, no, I was right before. It's 21, 21, 14, and 7. Holy shit.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that because then that's a lot of money
that's
a lot of money to know someone who's not on your team anymore.
Oh, because they're signing an option prorated. That's why. Wow.
Yeah. So I think.
Oh, so we're just fucked for the next. Yeah, I'll just give up the tickets now. Fuck that.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. That's why you pay it now because
that's why
it's pretty much we have so many 1-year contracts, so many guys on deals that are expiring. It's pretty much a given that we're gonna suck in 2025. Like that ship has already fucking pretty much sailed. So since we're gonna suck anyway, you might as well just fucking eat it and hope that Jordan Travis is legit. And, draft someone else behind him and just hope for the best there. And then we can continue to build around him. You can also move away from Devontae Adams and create $30 million in cap space.
Yeah, I think that's the move, man. And because my other piece of that,
I really do have to run because I have a work thing. But
yeah,
we can do final thoughts real quick, or do you guys fairly predict that the Jets are going to lose to the Colts next weekend and just call it that too?
Yeah.
All right, final thoughts, real quick. Go ahead, Adnan. Sorry, I have to do this, and also we went over an hour.
Yeah, final thoughts. Season just is probably over unless they win 7 in a row. So try to enjoy Garrett Wilson, and they should move on from Rodgers after this season.
Yeah, definitely move on from Rodgers because the Vikings and Broncos are number 1 and number 2 in dead cap this year, and they are both good. They're both doing well. And I just want this team to let's hurry up this rebuild. Let's get a new coach in here. Let's get a new GM, and let's back to the drawing board with the New York fucking Jets because we can't get anything fucking right. And we just need to do this. And we need to, like Adnan said, rip the Band-Aid off, bite the bullet, whatever euphemism or cliche term you want to use. Let's do that and let's get it over with and let's keep it moving because the longer we stay stuck to anything from this Joe Douglas era is the longer we're going to continue to be losers with no hope of, developing into something else, possibly.
Yeah. I can't believe we're here.
I can.
At this point.
Same. I can.
I just can't. It's just so devastating. Things like even pussy doesn't taste as good. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
When this is this bad. I don't care what I say. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't be a fucking asshole. Fuck the Patriots. Fuck the Dolphins. Fuck the Bills. I can't even say go Jets at this point because Jesus Christ, it's so fucking bad, and they've just disheartened me completely. But remember to buy our swag. Maybe things will turn around, or don't buy our swag if you want us to tank. Either way, it's a win-win for us, right? Actually, it's not, but we know whatever. Buy the fucking swag.
Laugh Through the Turbulence swag is now live and ready to make you look as good as Aaron Rodgers throwing a deep ball. Click in the bio to find out where to buy it. Get yours today and rep the green and white in style. And remember, wearing this swag doesn't make you look awesome. Actually, it increases our odds of the Jets winning. Well, maybe not, but it can't hurt to say that, right? Made probably from the finest child sweatshops from around the world that we do not endorse but still appreciate. Buy our swag today. We're giving you free content. Now it's time to empty your pockets and buy the stuff you don't need. Don't have a job? Well, you've got a kidney, right? Sell it and buy our swag. See if that's this old lady with a purse? Take her purse and pawn it and use the money to buy our swag. Got some money tucked away for your kid's college fund? Empty the account and buy our swag because your kid is just going to waste that money on a gender studies major anyway. Buy our fucking swag, dude!